Okay, this is Malin speaking. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm going to go ahead and speak for just a moment because I'm having some sunlight issues. Good morning. Welcome to everyone. I am so excited to see these beautiful faces at the beginning of the week. We do have a special guest. This meeting is a weekly meeting that I have with managers on our team, as well as leaders who are moving towards that manager rank, as well as new people who are coming in because their drive right now is all about getting to that next place and aiming towards that manager level as that core rank. What I'd love to do is ask each of you to go ahead and introduce your name, how long you've been in Legal Shield, when did you get started, and what level you are. And just for a moment, I'm going to shut off my camera just so that I can fix my lighting issue. And we're going to go ahead and start with those introductions. Starting with Mei Li.
Hello. Hi, I hope everybody can see me. Good morning, everyone. I think I've already said that, but good morning. Let me see, what were the three things? Your name, your rank, and how long have you been in Legal Shield? Name, how long, and your level. Okay. Hello, my name is Mei Li, and I've been in Legal Shield for 4 months. I'm ranked as manager, and I think that's it. Salvador. Hello, my name is Salvador. I've been working with Legal Shield for June or July. And I'm from California. And also I'm a senior associate, soon to become a manager. Hello, my name is Justin Calloway. My sign name is, I'm Wormy, that's my nickname. I've been in Legal Shield for 14 years. And I am a director. And I'm from California. Hello, my name is Shantara. It's been almost 4 months for me being with Legal Shield. I'm now a senior associate. Hi, my name is Amanda. I live in Massachusetts. I'm an associate, and I've been with Legal Shield for about 3, maybe 4 months. Hi, my name is Amy Mahoney. I'm in Massachusetts. I've been in Legal Shield since March as an associate, and I'm so close to becoming a manager. Hello, my name is Laura. I'm from Michigan. I became an associate. I've been a member for about 3 months. I mean, 3 weeks, 3 weeks,
Oh.
3 weeks. I'm really new. Good morning. My name is Denise Stewart, and I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I've been with Legal Shield since December. It will almost be a year. And right now I'm a manager, and I'm looking to be a senior manager. Oh, one moment. Technical difficulties here. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I've joined Legal Shield now 3 months. I'm a senior associate. Hello, everyone.
I think that's everyone. I'm going to continue to speak, and I have, let me spotlight Ms. Sharon. I'm going to spotlight Mr. Tanner. And I'm just going to spotlight myself for right now as we just set up some ground rules. I just want to say good morning and welcome to everyone. I am so excited. I was explaining to Jim that especially in deaf culture, that introductions are just such a part of what we do, getting to know each other. And I think that it really parallels with what we're also trying to do with Legal Shield, which is getting to know people, like them, and trust them. And so that's part of the cultural value here. Sharon and myself are not your interpreters. What we are is servant leaders providing ASL access. And I just want to say that out loud in that way because this is our business. We are going to pause. I'm going to make sure that there's clarity in, while that might look similar to interpreting, there are very specific things that we're doing to make sure that the team understands and that it's relevant. So I just wanted to point that out, that we are different than interpreters. The way today is going to work is that Jim is going to go ahead and do his presentation. And while that's going on, if you have questions, I need you to either write them down on your own sheet of paper or you can put them into the chat. I will be keeping an eye on it, but it may not be answered at the moment. I really want Jim to get through his entire presentation, and then we're going to leave time at the end to be able to do some questions. And you'll notice that maybe someone has a similar question, and that's totally okay. Just say, if you see that it's popping up there, you can just say, I have a similar question to Amanda, or not say anything at all. We're gonna review them and make sure they get answered. But feel free, if you want to put something into the text, it just may not be addressed immediately. This is being streamed onto the manager Facebook page. And I just want to remind everybody here that this group is managers and above. It's leaders, it's people who want to take their business to the next level. So put on that hat, open your mind. And I want to go ahead and now introduce my partner on Thursday nights at the Massachusetts statewide call. Someone who is clearly becoming not only my mentor, but my friend. He is a $200,000 ring earner, but probably I'm sure that there's a new one right around the corner for you. I don't know where your numbers are, but I wouldn't be surprised. $1 million club member, an author for the book that we're reading, actually starting this week in the book club. Thank you, Sharon, that is adorable. So if you don't have that book yet, let's talk, because I do know that maybe somebody has some signed copies coming very soon and we can maybe work that out. And I mean, honestly, my friend and someone who is giving me time and wisdom in such an amazing way. And just another way that Jim shows his generosity is that he's coming to talk to you guys. And thank you, Jim, and thank you all for being here and ready to go. Sharon is going to do the first round, and I'm going to say, take it away, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Do you have access to the slides? Are you able to pull this up?
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. Let's all learn together if I can do it. Desktop 2, share. You tell me if you're seeing PowerPoint. Still got me though, right?
Still got you.
All right, so I'm just going to move this down. I need more screens. Who would have thought that? Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for letting me be a part of this. I understand this is something where you all get together, and I'm excited that I could be a part of it. And as you can see on your screen, I'm going to be talking about the management trap. This is something that I learned, and yet even though I learned it early on, like many of you are in a position where you're learning it early on, it is a lesson that you will be reminded of again and again in your career building a business, and you'll see why. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the management trap is something that not only did I fall into when I was new, but even at the height of my Legal Shield career. I was able to find myself back in the management trap. So when I talk about this today, you may say, I wish I was having that problem. No, you don't. You'll see why in a moment. You may be saying to yourself, well, I've been exactly where he's describing, and hopefully this will help you to see around the corner in the future when it's happening again. And also, but most importantly, as you're watching your team develop, as you're seeing leaders emerge in your own organization, you can help them navigate this. One thing about the management trap is it's not required. You don't have to fall into this. It's just very common. But before I get started, I want you to know, I'm going to brag about myself a little bit, just because I want you to understand that you can have setbacks and you can have things happen that make you go slower than you thought you would go, or slow you down or lose momentum, and you can still win. This is a picture of myself and my wife, Dr. Danielle Rousseau. We are in Iceland on a glacier where we had lunch on a platinum trip to Iceland. We had lunch and we had just gotten back from riding snowmobiles across a glacier for the last several hours with the top income earners in the whole company. Now, I'm not telling you that to brag. I'm telling you that to say my life was not supposed to end up like this. I was delivering furniture during the day, working at the mall in a retail store at night, and essentially broker than paycheck to paycheck. Like, I wasn't paycheck to paycheck. Whether or not I ate lunch most days depended on if I got tips from the morning deliveries. We were first of all, I was in a desperate situation. And then my wife wasn't much better off. When I met her, she was finishing her schooling. She had been through university and got a master's and was working on a PhD and accumulating enormous amounts of debt. But she was able to finish her PhD with no student debt. We were able to totally change our lives. And it's because of this Legal Shield business. But, let's be honest, there are people that join Legal Shield, the business, and they don't become millionaires and they don't have great financial success. And what we're going to look at right now is one of the real factors in why that happens. And so if you're open to learning the traps that happen along the way, I think you're going to enjoy this, and I can help you to avoid it. But let's start with what really is the system. When you're building a team, and I believe in building internationally, coast to coast and border to border in the United States and Canada. Those of you that are in Massachusetts, every Thursday night I remind you, we don't just have to build it in our backyard. We're not operating a pizza shop. We're the CEO of our business, and it's a major international business. Well, this is what I was taught when I first learned how to build a team in this business. And it's called running the bases, or Legal Shield baseball. And it's essentially a way to visualize the process that your prospects have to go through in order for them to become associates, and then how to teach them that so it duplicates. So let's just take a quick look at it. First base is exposure. And exposure is simply any kind of video, audio, PDF document, magazine, DVD, anything you can think of, a Zoom presentation, where the prospect is learning about the Legal Shield membership and opportunity. Second base is following up. When we invite somebody to the Zoom, for example, like a Zoom presentation, well, we have to follow up with them. We have to find out, what did they like best about it? What are their questions? And that's what the second base is. It's following up with someone that's been exposed. It's also often following up with somebody that to find out if they have been exposed, if they actually went to the overview that we invited them to go to. Third base is the three-way call, or a third-party expert answering questions for your prospect, so that they can see that they don't have to be good at answering questions. They don't have to master any kind of complex system. They can literally put their prospects on the phone with somebody else, because that is what you're doing with them. And then home plate is the sign-up process, onboarding your new associate, getting them protected with a membership, but also teaching them the system that they were just experiencing as a prospect, so that they can understand how truly simple and, more importantly, duplicatable that system is. So that's what it is. And it is simple, and in its simplicity, oftentimes people want to mess it up by making it more complicated. You know, I would probably prefer it if it was 92 steps instead of just first base, second base, third base, and home plate, because humans like to master complex things, not simple things. We get great joy and a feeling of competency in mastering something complicated. Well, this is simple. And so it goes against that urge we have to master something complex. Also, we think that if you're going to make millions of dollars doing something, that thing should be complicated. But the reason that so many people have become millionaire club members is because it's not complicated. So that's the system, and that's the system I learned. But I immediately went to work kind of wrecking it. Here's what I did. And I messed this up for a long time. I would invite somebody to watch the overview. I'm sure you've all done that. Then I would follow up with that person. Then I would follow up with that person again and again and again and again. Does this sound familiar to anybody? I mean, I would just over and over, I'd have this one person and I would just keep following up with them until they just ignored me altogether. And then I just couldn't get back in touch with them again because I was being a pest and I wasn't being professional. I was just thinking to myself, well, if I could just get them to watch this, then everything would be great after that. So I would just focus on that one person over and over and over, and I'd call them, and then eventually they wouldn't take my calls anymore. Or I'd invite someone to watch the overview, and they would just watch it because I invited them to. So first base was easy. And then they would get started on our whole process. They would become members, they would become associates. It would all happen incredibly fast. They would get trained, go to fast start class. It would be fast, but then they would vanish. And I would think, why would you go through those steps? Why would you pay money and then stop taking my calls? And so I would keep calling that person and following up and trying to figure out where I went wrong with them. And that was really frustrating to me because I felt like I was wasting time and it was emotional. And I would waste time with a person. I'd feel like it was going to be a big effort to find another person to do that with. And then so I would just get kind of down on myself. And here's what I would start saying and thinking. I'd say, this is hard. I would say, no one wants to join my team. And then I would say, of the people that did join my team isn't doing anything. And I would tell my mentors, you know what, this just doesn't work. And what I learned was that there was a term for what I was feeling. I was taught that it had a name, and it was called management mode. And management mode, if not corrected, is the death of your business. Legal Shield for all of us is a potential multi-million-dollar dream lifestyle, and it can evaporate because of management mode. But when my daughter was born, I didn't work my business for a year. And we made more money that year than the year before because I built a team, but I didn't manage them. I'd escaped this trap of management mode. Essentially, I stayed out of their way. And that's the opposite of managing them. And I'm going to talk more about that here in a second. So what's the secret? This is me and my daughter Olive on the stage at the Grand Ole Opry. You know, we could have lived our whole lives and never stood on that stage. And that's the trajectory I was on because I'd never even been on an airplane until I was in my 20s. I got my passport in my 30s, but my daughter's had a completely different life. She's been flying around since she was born. To her, an airplane is no big deal. She has a passport. She's been to multiple countries, and she has all these great experiences that, yeah, true, she probably won't remember, but we have all the photos to remind her. And it's because of this Legal Shield business. So what's the secret to having this business that is working with or without you? Let's talk about that. And that's really what I wanted to spend time with you here.
So Jim, just give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and swap access with Sharon.
This is a great slide for that.
I had a feeling. And so actually, I think I just blocked her out and she has the best picture. Can you guys see how amazing that is? That is, in fact, Sharon. I also want to make sure that folks are, I'm checking the site and that everybody is good. And
Do you want to unpin me or just keep up my adorable?
I love that, adorable. I can't see where you are. So if you can, you should be able to unpin yourself.
I can't see that. No.
You need me to unshare for a minute or pause
Yeah,
it?
just for a minute. I think it'll bring
Let's
it
do
down.
that. Does that make it easier?
Yep. And then Sharon is, I'm removing the spotlight. Perfect. And then we're just going to go ahead and go on. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
you got it. Let me know when we're back to my screen, which
And
should be any moment.
all right.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. So we talked about the baseball diamond, running the bases. So now I want to talk about the secret. The secret is focusing on what you can control. So work backwards with me. We're going to go backwards through what I just described. See, I don't control who signs up as a member or an associate. You know, that's home plate. Some people just don't have the money, or they don't have the personal development to understand that they should invest in themselves. They say it must be a scam if you have to pay to get started, or whatever it is. I learned that I don't control that. I could say things like, well, you know, if it was less money, maybe more people would get started. But the truth is, we only had one option when I got started. It was $249. I already told you I didn't have enough money for food. And yet I looked at myself and I looked at this business and I said, for things to change, I can't keep doing the same things I'm doing because I'm not getting anywhere. And I was mad at myself, not at the company. I said, you know what? I should have $249 available for how hard I work. And so I made it happen. I just got a little bit further behind on some bills. And I made a decision that has been a multi-million-dollar decision for me. But it would have been a multi-million-dollar bad decision if I'd let 249 filter me out of the business. In other words, it's okay if some people just can't afford to get started or don't see through that it's an opportunity and they see that as a barrier that they're not willing to overcome. So I learned that I do not control who signs up. Let's keep going. We're going backwards around the bases. Third base. I also don't control who finishes or who gets to third base. There's really nothing I can do. Some people just don't want to talk to an expert on the phone with me. Some people don't want to get their questions answered. Some people feel like they're going to get hard closed or talked into something that they don't want to do. Some folks are just afraid to talk to a stranger. And some people just don't want to put in the time and they're really not that serious anyway. So I learned that getting somebody on a three-way call is not really something that I can control. I learned on second base that I don't control follow-up. I mean, I feel like that's hard to understand, but I can control if I try to follow up with someone, but I don't control who will talk to me after they watch the video or go to the Zoom meeting. I don't even control who will watch it. Some people will say yes, by the way, and they will yes you to death, and they'll never make a move. They don't say no, so they just string you along and get you into this perpetual follow-up with them. So if I don't control any of those things, what do I actually control? And obviously you've already figured this out, but you can benefit from my mistakes and you can have an easier way to do these things if you just focus on what you do control, which is exposure. So that's what I control, exposure. More accurately, I control the process of inviting people to an exposure. So I don't have to spend much time learning about all the other stuff if I can get really good at exposure. If I'm good at exposure, I'll find the people that don't need a lot of follow-up and they'll just go through the process. If I'm good at exposure, I'll find the people that want to get on a three-way call to get their questions answered. And I won't have to beg them to get started or become a member if I'm good at exposure. And I learned from my mentor, whoever exposes the most recruits the most. So if exposure is what we control, it's where we should put the most effort. And I want to make this clear, not all of our effort, but definitely most of our effort. In other words, we don't just throw people against the wall to see if they stick, because there's a human component to this. This is real people, you and I, communicating with other real people about a powerful opportunity. But we don't have to spend all of our time following up with people that aren't moving forward And if you find yourself in management mode, the problem is access to prospects. I want you to make sure that you write this down or record it somewhere. If you find yourself in the mode where you're just following up with the same people, and they're not, and it just the business isn't going anywhere, the problem you have is access to prospects. Don't fix anything else before you fix this. Don't try to get better at overcoming objections or inviting people to do other things like get on a three-way call. Fix access to prospects. If you're struggling to get back to people because you're busy with life, then you're right on track. See, we're all busy, and a good indicator of do you have enough prospects is, do you have emails from people? Like right now, this morning while I'm talking to you, I have an inbox full of emails from people that are, and some of them are probably a little annoyed, that want to get started, that have some questions and they want to get their questions answered. And I can't even get back to them. And just before we started here, I was on the phone with somebody and she said, I'm trying to sign up for my membership. And I said, I'm going to have to call you in an hour. I have to get on a training and I'll walk you through it. I mean, that's how you know, because you're so busy with your life and your Legal Shield business and your family and your other obligations that you feel a little bit of anxiety about how am I going to get back to everybody that wants to talk to me. Now, do me a favor and be open-minded, because I have slides and I have enough time to explain to you how to get your business to that point. And really, that's why I wanted to start with understanding what you control. So if you don't have anyone annoyed that you aren't calling them back, you just don't have enough prospects yet. And that's okay. We're going to fix that. All right. So let's walk through some ways you can create your prospect list and never have it run empty again. More people to get back to than you could get back to. More people that want to talk to you than you can talk to. This is what I hope that I can, if I get nothing else through to everyone, let it be this. This is what the top recruiters have that the rest don't. They have the most prospects. They don't have a better video or a different language. They don't have tricks. They're not better at closing people. Nothing matters more than having more prospects. That's not unique to a Legal Shield business. That is every business needs more prospects, more potential customers. That's how you win. And so that's what we have here. So let's just talk about how to have a strategy where you can have more prospects than you can even get back to. Because remember, the thing we control is exposures. So we need more people going through the exposures, not more calls to the people that were, to the handful of people that were trying to get exposed. So there's two markets. There's a cold market and a warm market. And cold market is total strangers. You don't know them and they don't know you. And then warm market is kind of the opposite. You know them and they know you. Maybe you've done business together in the past or they're related to you. And of course, there's degrees of cold and warm, but just for the benefit of our conversation, I'm just slicing it into cold market and warm market. And then demographics. And for example, demographics maybe are people that are insurance agents, or more specifically an Aflac agent or a real estate agent, sales professionals, parents, network marketers, and other companies. There could be, and this is not an exhaustive list, this is just to expand your vision of the different types of people that you can have as a target so that you have something to target. When I talk to people on my team that are struggling and I ask them this question, who do you want to recruit? They kind of say, everybody. I want to recruit everybody. And I understand that. I want to recruit everybody too. But if you don't have a target, you don't know if you're hitting your target. So personally, I love to recruit salespeople. And that's my specialty. So you find a specialty, you find what drives you, who do you want to work with? And for example, again, I work with salespeople, and whether they want to focus on building a Legal Shield business by recruiting or doing business solutions or individual membership sales, it doesn't matter to me what they want to do in Legal Shield. What matters to me is that they are a salesperson, because I feel like I get salespeople and salespeople seem to get me. So I enjoy the communications with them. It's a comfortable space for me. but it's not the best answer. It's just the one that I arrived at that I really like. And people will often ask me, and they'll say, well, does that mean everyone in your team is just a salesperson? Well, keep in mind that no one is just one type of person. Salespeople are also parents. Parents are also network marketers. Diversity will show up in your recruiting, even if you focus on one aspect to target, so that you can get to be a specialist in one demographic. So as you can see on the screen, there's a lot of overlap. And so I might know an AFLAC agent. So they're also in my warm market, and that AFLAC agent might be a mom or a dad. So they're all three things. So you can focus in any area. Maybe you focus on your warm market, people you already know. And it turns out that the people you already know, some of them are parents, and some of them are sales professionals, and some of them are network marketers. Maybe you focus on people that you don't know, and some of those people that you focus on that you don't know, and I'll show you where to get people to talk to here in a second if you don't know them, maybe their parents or whatever it is. The point is, people are more than one thing. I'm a dad, and that's my fun thing. Like, I love being a dad, but I'm also a Legal Shield independent associate, and there are people who know me, so I'm in their warm market, and I'm in Legal Shield, and I'm a parent. You see, there's overlap there, and you have that overlap too. So what I want to help you understand is, no one is one type of person, but you can focus on one aspect of people to start conversations. If, for example, you wanted to focus on AFLAC agents, you'd have a conversation around our business solutions division. If you wanted to focus on network marketers, you'd have a conversation around the flexibility and the ability to have uncapped income and to work from home that network marketers love and enjoy, and they're probably not getting where they are. So once you know who you want to talk to, then you have a sourcing strategy. These are fancy words that recruiters use, but all it means is, where am I looking for people? Where am I running into people I don't already know or that I do already know? Well, there's social media, obviously Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those places. Referrals from people we already know. I'm always asking people, hey, who do you know that's just gotten married recently? Who do you know that's got divorced? Who just had a kid? Who's expecting to have a child soon? Because I know those are good referrals, and it makes it easy for me to start a conversation. I ask people when I find out that they just bought a new house, who was the real estate agent that sold them their house? I ask people that just bought a car, who sold them their car, and where do you get your car insurance from? These are the types of referrals I want, so that I can introduce myself to their real estate agent, their car salesman, their insurance agent, and others. And that's referrals. And there's also people we know that they don't have to just be referrals. The people we already know make great candidates for the business. There's home business leads, and I could go through all of this and spend an hour on any of these categories. I just want you to expand your mind and expand your field of vision to say, there are millions of people. All you need is a strategy on how to get to some of them, and you'll have more people to get back to than you can get back to. Home business leads are leads that we can buy of people that have raised their hand and said, I would like more information about how to work from home. And we have an opportunity that matches their needs. I mentioned legal plan leads. I know that most of you probably know what legal plan leads are. These are leads that attorneys purchase, and we can purchase as well, of people that need legal access. They don't know about Legal Shield. They have a legal issue. And so attorneys buy these leads, and we can too. But I like to talk about that in terms of recruiting, because the best recruit you're ever going to have is a happy member. So if you have a member that comes from a legal plan lead, it's a great candidate for recruiting. And you can get resumes on Craigslist. People post their resume on Craigslist, and you can go there for free, and you can pull their resume. They're literally telling you, hey, I'm looking for a way to make money. Here's everything I've ever done in the past to make money. Here's my contact information. That's all free. Business Networking International, the Chamber of Commerce, meetup.com. These are all networking groups that are virtual and in person, depending on where in the country you are right now. And they allow you to meet people you otherwise might not meet. There's power in focusing on building your exposures instead of focusing on begging people to join the business. And amateurs get into management mode, and I did it too. Okay, and I was going to tell you that I did it even though I knew better. But amateurs get into management mode. Professionals focus on getting more people exposed to the opportunity. I want to tell you my management mode story. That's really painful because anyone can and will end up in management mode if they don't realize they're doing it. After I qualified for Platinum Executive Director, I allowed myself to get distracted and sucked back into management mode. I had convinced myself that it was necessary to maintain the Platinum level, and the end result was I lost the Platinum level because one of my executive director lines didn't qualify 1 month. Had I spent that 14 months focused on exposures, which is what I'd done prior to that, which got me to Platinum Executive Director, I could have developed more executive directors during that time, which would have given me the 4 I needed, even if one of the lines didn't qualify on any given month. The point is, even at the very top of the business, you can get lured back into management mode, and that's exactly what happened to me. So I just want to give you a few.
Hold 1 second, please, Jim. Just I need to
Yes.
catch up on that whole story. Hold on.
Okay, you can proceed.
Thank you. And just to put a bow on that, any professional, I consider myself a professional, I consider you all professionals, any of us can slip back into acting like an amateur. It happens to the best of us, but the power is in recognizing it and staying focused on exposures, and then looking for this in your organization as it grows. When you have someone that is struggling, it's often because of this very thing. You'll never get more, if you think of your business as a funnel, you'll never get more out of the bottom of the funnel than you put in the top. That's just the way it is. There's no magic extra people in the funnel. You always get fewer people out the bottom of the funnel than you put in. And that, knowing that, should drive you to focus on exposures. So just focus on what you can control, focus on a demographic so that you can understand what your target is, and you'll know if you're hitting it. And then you'll see on my screen, it says focus on leading indicators, not lagging indicators. Well, this is what we often do, is we focus on the lagging indicator, which is the result. So we look at our business and we say, well, how many memberships did my team sell? How many people did my team
We're going to slow this process down a little bit, Jim. Just give me 1 second. Can you go back to the funnel for a second?
I sure can.
Thank you. So now we're going to this is going to get a little deeper. So I need you just to slow down between transitions. Is that okay?
Yep. And I only have a couple slides left.
All right, go ahead.
So I'll go right here. So I want to talk about the difference between a leading indicator and a lagging indicator. And let me step out of Legal Shield for a second so that we can go into the real world, something we understand. For example, let's say we want to lose 5 pounds. It's that time of year we start thinking about things like this. Well, the lagging indicator, what that would be, what do we weigh when we step on the scale? When I step on the scale, my weight is the lagging indicator. And that tends to be where we focus in our Legal Shield business. In our business, it would be the number of memberships sold, the number of recruits recruited. That's the result. The scale, when we step on the scale, is the result. What you do to build your business professionally is you focus on the leading indicator. In health, it would be, did I exercise today? Am I eating?
Give me 1 quick second. Hold on a second. All right, hang on 1 second.
Right now, it's just talking about the scale in that comparison.
Excellent.
That's a perfect anchor to help us understand between leading and learning.
Leading in terms of what am I doing? Exercising, diet.
Yes.
So keep going from there.
So those are the activities that get the result. And in our business, the leading indicators are how many people we've invited to an exposure. And one of the challenges of running your business with a focus on the leading indicator, with a focus on the thing we can control, with a focus on exposures, is that it requires some faith that you are going to see results. And I always say you're one recruit away from an explosion in your business. I learned this from my mentors. And I had to arrive at, I had to work my business with the faith that what they were telling me was true until it happened. And then it happened. And people started showing up in my business that were running through the bases and not just signing up, but actually getting started in the business. And they weren't requiring me to beg them or drag them through the process. So don't let the distraction of management mode keep you from your next recruit, because that's the one. You're one recruit away from an explosion, a producer, somebody that wants it as bad as you want it, somebody that's as focused as you are. And that's what will change the whole trajectory of your business. There are individuals in my business where I've earned over $100,000 in overrides just from that one person and their business that they've built over the years. So when I say
Hold one second.
Yeah.
Okay. Earned over 100,000 from overrides for one person. The commission, the overrides. Okay.
And just to wrap that up, because I know that we're out of time, because I've talked about money and I've talked about financial success, I just want to end by grounding us in why we do this. There's a lot of ways to make money. We make great money here. But the power of what we do is we change lives. We protect families. Hundreds of millions of people woke up this morning and they needed legal access, and they needed their will done, and they needed advocacy, and yet they had no idea that Legal Shield exists. But we know, and ultimately we can't keep that a secret. That's our mission, is to continue to share this story so that people can make the decision to get protected and to join us in the mission as well as entrepreneurs that will be involved in the business of telling this story with us. That's how we're going to change America and Canada and the world. And that's what we get paid to do. So yes, we can make incredible income. And yes, we can have incredible lifestyles. But all of that is because we have a great product, a phenomenal company, and an opportunity that's really just scratching the surface of what it's going to be. So Joe, that's my take on it. That's how to avoid management mode. And I'll unshare my screen so you can get those controls back. I'm grateful for you having me on.
And we're going to switch. Sharon's going to help with communication.
Okay.
Oh, I picked the wrong person. Hang on a second.
Hey, Shintara. Woo, go ahead, interpret.
All right. Okay. So, thank you. Oh my goodness, that is amazing information. And so I just want to I'm going to remind people we have about, I'd say maybe 9 minutes left. I don't see any questions in the chat, but this is your time, my beautiful, wonderful, amazing team. Let's just try to keep, we want to have a couple people share. So if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, now is your time to be able to let me know and you can bring up your question. I see 2 people with hand raised. We're going to start with Mei Lee, and then we'll do Sal, and then we'll do Denise. So I'm going to bring her in, add spotlight. Let's see if that works.
Okay, are you ready? Great. I remember you shared about your experience before in the beginning where you had the struggles and then where you got the benefit. Right now, where I'm meeting a lot of folks and they're young and they can't perceive the future. Oh, I keep flipping.
Joe, I'm trying to also, I'm also trying to manage the Facebook. So, because I want to see everything. So we're going to be here. I'm just going to leave it like this. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it open like this. That's fine.
Okay. I'm just picking up. So I'm dealing with young professionals who may not have the money. I'm asking your opinion as to how I can recruit folks who may not have the money, and we're talking about a risk that they may not perceive. How can I talk to that demographics of young professionals?
Great question. The reality is that I did the same thing when I first got started. I had a demographic in my mind and they couldn't afford to get started either. And that made me really frustrated. Any business you start, if your customer base can't afford your product, you're not really in business. So you have to shift to a demographic that can afford to get started. Now you can keep going down that road because you want to help those people. There's nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of folks that I want to help, but I fund my business by recruiting professionals, real estate agents, insurance agents that have a wallet full of credit cards and can afford to get started. If they see the opportunity, the price of entry will not be the reason they don't get started. So sometimes you just have to take a calculated look at your own business and say, am I working with people that can get started? And if they did get started, could they do what it is that we do? And I would also say, take a hard look at this demographic and think about the conversations. Is it about getting started? Do they perceive signing up as the finish line? In other words, the money will magically come in when we sign them up? Or do they see that as the start line, where signing up begins a relationship of running hard into the future with the business? If you really want to stick to that demographic, then the way you test the market is you get them their membership. At least $24.95 is a small commitment. Get them to put the app on their phone, use their plan, and help them take the business from their head to their heart and see if they will then soften on their stance about the cost to get started. For the right reason, we can all find $99. It's a matter of whether or not they see the right reason. does this solve a problem for them?
I just want to say that again. I think that is we've been looking for some answers. One, I wanted to acknowledge this is usually we don't, I want to identify that Daniel's actually on a lunch break at his business. And so I just want you to know that I love that he carves us into his schedule. So thank you. We are asking the question as we are reaching out to our friends and family. And we're saying, I want to include my friends, but it feels like asking them to be an associate seems like it's the wrong answer. And I think you have just given us some insight. Don't rush to the associate side, especially if we feel like they might not be ready for it, or that they're not, that pulling that money together is already going to be a very big demand. Get them the membership. And then Jim pointed out earlier that eventually, especially if they're using it, they're going to come to you and say, I want to know more. And we can follow up with them after they've used it and have a great story. And I know we've all talked about our great stories, that's going to be more powerful. And that is just, I think that's brilliant. And I think it actually, for me, it answers that question. I feel like I'm not doing my job if I'm not trying to bring everyone on as a recruit. But again, going back to managers manage, but leaders sort. And you're sitting here with our leaders right now. And so there are some people that we're going to say, you know what, right now it's just the membership. Let's just go with the membership and get you protected. And then if this is something you want, let's come back to it. And I love that. I think that's really, wow, thank you.
Joe, could you maybe do a split screen? Because I'm thinking if we're streaming, is that going to be difficult?
So I keep losing people. And so that was part of it. I was keeping this set up. Yeah.
Okay.
You in your side can pin the person who's signing.
No, it's fine. I'm just
Pin them.
thinking
Okay.
who's outside watching this.
And some of the other people are saying that they can't pin. Okay, got it. So we're just going to leave it like this. And also, who was next? Was it Sal? Sal and then Denise. So Sal.
Can we bring him up?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Hello, Jim. Thank you for the presentation. You really gave us a lot to think about. And talking about exposures and getting to have a home run. I like that. I worked with the World Federation group, and I dealt with life insurance. That was like another lifetime. I understand that we're not convinced, but you have your network of friends and you give them that exposure so that they can understand what Legal Shield is and the opportunity, especially the opportunity for deaf folks, that they can do this, and we have great tools. But a lot of them are not understanding and not really getting all of that aspect with Legal Shield. So how do I expose them so that they can understand and feel how great this opportunity is?
I'll let you guys talk about the exposure tool, because you have what's working for you, but I can make some assumptions, not specifically about what's going on with you, Sal, but in general, when people struggle, we go to our friends and family, people we know the most, and we want to tell them why this would solve a problem for them. We tell them because we know what their problems are. We don't have to ask them what their problems are. So I went to people and I said, this would help you because you hate your job. And that would shut them down. And they would say things like, I don't hate my job. I love my job. But I knew they hated their job. And now they were lying to me. So what happened was I hurt their pride. And I would do that looking back on it over and over again. And then I learned that what you are better off doing is telling people why you joined and allow them to have an epiphany about how it could help them too. Then they don't defend. So when I say I got into this business because I was working 80 hours a week and couldn't pay my bills, that I wasn't afraid to work hard, but I just wasn't getting anywhere, then they can make that connection on how that might be relevant in their lives. Then I found that I got a lot more traction from those interactions. Still didn't work on everybody. And everyone, I want you to know, when it comes to your warm market, I was sure that the people that weren't going to get started before certainly would when I made $100,000 in a single year. Most of them didn't. And I said, well, certainly when I've made $1 million doing this, because they all used to ask me, well, how much money have you made? $1 million later, still weren't interested. Their reasons changed. They used to say it wouldn't work. Then I made it work. They said it wouldn't last. Then I showed them that it would. Now they just say that I have some special skill that they don't have. I'm taller than they are, or smarter, or I'm a better salesman. Whatever it is, there's always going to be a reason, because we haven't really uncovered the real reason, which is they're worried that they will fail and you will see them fail, and they don't want that to happen. So we have to go at recruiting with love, especially with people we personally know.
That's amazing. And I want to check with time. Jim, can you take one more question? I know you have a 12 o'clock. You sure?
Yep.
So Denise will be our last question. I know Daniel has to take off. Some people have some 12 o'clocks, but thank you for
Daniel.
taking this one last question.
Thank you for sharing your words of wisdom. Oh my, so inspiring. Again, as it was, you mentioned your struggles with money before, and then your reason for joining Legal Shield and your vision, how it paralleled with a Bible parable of the seeds, sowing the seeds, that you planted that, and how you got your ring and how you were blessed by planting your seeds first. I just want to know, how do you avoid that apprehension and fear? Like, I'm exposing people, I'm showing them the video, I'm inviting them to open house and events. I'm doing that. Then I'm trying to follow up, and I am, I've got support, but it's me. When I try to talk to my prospects, I feel like they're avoiding me. I don't know if they like the idea, or, how, like, you talked about the diamond shape with the baseball. That was a great imagery. And it's really difficult to try to get to that home base. So you can have that victory dance and whatnot. So I want to do that, but I'm feeling quite frustrated, where I'm looking at the goal. I know where I want to go. I post certain things on Facebook, but I'm not exactly sure how I can wind up getting to that home plate.
Great. I would just say that you're describing in your situation exactly where I was, which is I was trying to make the most out of my small list of people. I was trying to extract the juice out of this little group. And I was saying to myself, if I could just get one of these 5 people to sign up, then I'll be somewhere. and it'll almost like I needed it to validate the business for me. When I learned how to take the list from 5 to 50 or from 5 to 500, I didn't have to be good at anything else, because the people like us that just get it, like, oh yes, of course I want to do this, they're in that pile. But we never get to them because we just keep going back to the same handful of people that don't get it. And that handful of people, every time we go back to them, they feel validated that it's not working for you and for I, because we keep going back to them. But everybody in my warm market knows that I am running and I am building a business, and that if they wanted to do it with me, they would have to run with me. They're not waiting for me to come back to them. They can see on my social media that I'm walking the beaches of the world. The most important person you're ever going to recruit in this business is you. I know we all have that list of people that oh man, if she did it, if she saw it and joined with me, if he came with me, husband, brother, friend, church member, then it would explode if I could just get them to see it. It's not them. It's you. It's me. We're the ones. That's why you're on this Zoom today. You're a self-selecting audience of leaders. You probably feel that pressure and tension in every part of your life. You're not like everybody else. There's a lot of people just lay down and curl up in a ball. We've been watching that happen all year. And there's others that rise. And because we don't see ourselves as masters of our domain, we don't see ourselves as champions yet, then we incorrectly think that we are like those people that are not going anywhere, because the changes you're making are imperceptive in the beginning. But you are all leaders. You are all runners. And you just haven't yet arrived at what you believe is the finish line or the success point. But that doesn't mean you're not in progress. You're absolutely in progress. But the answer is not to convince the small group. The answer is to build a much larger profile of prospects for your business. And then you'll never have to be good at this. I don't know what to say to get somebody to join this business. I do know how to get more people to look at it. And that's why I win. And the cool thing is, so will you.
Jim, I'm speechless at how much I can just see it in the faces of this amazing group of leaders. Your words have resonated. I think that I'm kind of taken emotionally, because I know that I can see the wheels turning and that people are making those connections. And I just can't wait to see what happens next and to tell you all about what happens next, because you are correct. These are leaders here, and they have done a lot already in their time. And this was just immeasurable. I am very grateful. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for us. And I want to also thank Sharon for helping me with ASL Access. This is streamed onto, I have a very specific manager Facebook group. And so for anybody who wants to stay, you're welcome to stick it out and we can do a little more debrief. But if folks need to go, I want to just thank, and we can just say thank you. This is a time for thank you and bye, and talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
They're all saying thank you, Jim.